Jamie Tartt, Michael Scott, and Dr. Cox lead the way, but did some other characters grab Binge the Ginge's attention?
We cover a lot of Taylor Sheridan shows, but did this show solidify Nutmeg's opinion that Bill Lawrence belongs on our TV Mount Rushmore?
Red and Red Real Reviews heads back to school with Rooster on HBO Max.
I knew within the first 5 minutes I was gonna hate it, but then it was so bad. Ugh.
Nobody wants this. Like
Literally
figure out,
nobody
hold on,
wants this.
internet's gonna get mad at me for this one. There's no fat elf, you know.
Duty, which I can't say without laughing. Duty, like I'm English.
John being fair, I mean, I don't want to sound like a loser for saying this, but they're adorable. I'll admit it. Welcome back, the latest episode of Red and Red Real Reviews, and we joke a lot that we can't get enough of Taylor Sheridan product, but I think we're getting to the point where it's really true that we can't get enough of Bill Lawrence led shows.
You know what? It's kind of a toss up. I feel like if we tallied all the Taylor Sheridan shows we've covered and all the Bill Lawrence is creeping up.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Well, let us know what you think of the podcast as a whole and potential shows we should cover by emailing us at redandredrealreviews@gmail.com and following us on Instagram. Shoot us a DM at Red and Red Real Reviews. That's the letter N, real spelled with two E's. So, our usual setup topic often centers around what did you expect? And I find this a little bit funnier because it's a comedy. It should be pretty obvious going in.
Mm.
But what I had in my head for this is this maybe this kind of rekindling of parentage story between Steve Carell's character Greg Russo and the character's daughter Katie. Th- it didn't exactly come at me the way I thought it was going to. Same thoughts, or would kind of match up to what you thought?
Yeah, very, very much the same thoughts as you. Based on reading the summary that IMDb gave, and I think I read it in the episode before this, but I sort of expected an estranged or like a very strained relationship between them, but we didn't get that at all. And maybe I just had the wrong idea just from reading that summary, but I'm not complaining by any means. It just turned out different than I expected based on what I thought it was about. Um, but yeah, I did kind of get different vibes just based on what going into it, what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain either, and of course we'll get to that towards the end of the episode. But I thought the same thing. I figured that there was going to be some drama between the two, and the two of them really have, for all intents and purposes, a pretty good relationship.
Right. The only thing is when we start the episode, his daughter says that, oh, well, they've offered for you to speak at this school a million times and you've turned them down. Why now? And he says that he needed to check on her, but she's not mad at him. I kind of thought that this was about a relationship where the father's kind of gone away, doesn't come around a lot, and the daughter's pissed off at him. That's kind of what I thought we were getting into. So it was going to be like their like you said, rekindling their relationship as father daughter and being close again after they had been far apart. But yeah, we sort of get something different, which is like a yes, they're not super close, but they're just sort of getting to know each other, which sounds weird.
Yeah, like there was kind of a non-traditional, for lack of a better word, upbringing that she had, and it's they didn't necessarily have. It wasn't necessarily a bad experience, but it wasn't your regular, as expected, parent-child situation growing up.
And it's hard to recognize at what point Steve Carell's character, Greg, at what point he divorced his wife, who's Katie, his daughter's mother. It's hard to know, like, if they've been divorced for 20 years, have they been divorced for 2 years? We don't really know. But I mean, just speaking from my personal experience, my parents got divorced really late in the game. It was during COVID. I was in my mid 30s when my parents got divorced. And I would say that's when I really started to know my dad better, which is weird again, because you're 34, 35, and like I would have these conversations on the phone with him where I'd be like, oh, you never mentioned that thing, or he would tell me about these stories, and I'm like, wow, I've gone my whole life without you ever mentioning that. I did not know that. So I could kind of see, I was bringing that anecdote, bringing that experience to this, sort of like, in this different setting, are they going to get to know each other more?
Yeah, and it's throwing Steve Carell in this, where most people instantly recognize him, of course, from The Office, from 40-Year-Old Virgin,
Mm.
and then the serious stuff comes around a little bit more. The early seasons of The Morning Show,
Mm-hmm.
Mountain Head of recent memory, the Four Seasons, which I guess was
Yep.
kind of a little bit of both. And then this, which is still a comedy, but there's some serious notes to it as well. So
Mm.
it's kind of another hybrid role for him.
Yeah, and it is, since we're talking about Bill Lawrence, I do think it's similar to Shrinking, which I was wondering if it was going to be, but I do think that it leans more comedy than heart. Like, not that it's completely devoid of heart. Like, it does seem like there's a profundity to it, but I do think it skews more comedy.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of dry humor in this, and we'll get to
Oh
that
yeah.
later. We'll get to that later. So, binge to ginge, what is your one thing?
Well, I would say my one thing to watch for is the extremely likable characters right off the bat. And that's something that doesn't really happen a lot for me, where I watch something and I lock in and I'm like, wow, I really think I'm going to like these characters. I I mean, they seem very promising, and I could be wrong. I can always be wrong, of course. I can go through the season, they annoy the hell out of me. It's possible, right? But I'm going to make a prediction that I will enjoy the hell out of these two characters and I will not be annoyed by them. So because I say it, it's going to make it true. It's
Manifestation. Manifestation.
manifestation. Yeah, and so obviously there are a few besides Steve Carell, who's the lead character. We have Phil Dunster, he's Jamie from Ted Lasso. We have John C. McGinley, who I know as that guy from Scrubs. And
That hurts my soul a little bit.
I didn't know what the actor's name was. I had to look it up, and it was not easy to find on IMDb. I thought he'd be right at the top, and it was not. But yeah, so the characters that I really like and that I find very promising, and that goes hand in hand with the actresses who play them. So it's the character of Dylan, played by Danielle Deadweiler, and then Charlie Clive, who plays Katie. And so I don't know, I was just struck instantly by Danielle, who's really, really beautiful. She reminds me, this is weird to say, how certain people, their faces are just angry looking? You know,
Resting bitch face.
yeah, like how they always play psychotic characters because they just have that look. One person that comes to mind is like Michael Shannon, if you know who he is. He
Yeah,
always plays kind of a psycho.
Dexter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Michael C
Oh, it's Michael
something.
C. Hall. Wait, Michael
Michael
Shannon.
C. Hall. Michael Shannon. I can't even come up with
Is-
something he was in, but
He's
you
not the
know his.
Breakfast Club one, is he? He's from the Breakfast Club? That's
Can we
not
get
who
a
I'm
look
thinking
up,
of.
Keith? Keith?
Yeah, Keith.
Keith? I wish I had an earpiece to be like, paging Keith. Please look this up. Yeah, but so somebody that Danielle Deadweiler reminds me of is Taraji P. Henson. Do you know who she is?
No, not remotely.
She
At least
looks
not
like
by name. At least not by name.
The thing about Taraji P. Henson, though, is she always kind of looks a little pissed off. She just has one of those faces. She's a gorgeous lady, but she has one of those like kind of pissed off faces. She looks like a happy Taraji P. Henson. She's just like gorgeous. I thought this lady was like very striking. And then I just liked her character. In the first episode, she's extremely confident and she's blunt and she like knows what she wants and goes for it, but she's also funny, like she's witty and she's got a personality to her. So I'm hoping that she's not going to end up annoying me, that I will continue to like her. And then the actress who plays Katie, I don't know, I just found her instantly like, though she's at this liberal arts college, and of course I could be proven wrong if we get into some woke material, but I feel like right now these two female characters are just really likable, and I don't find that a lot. So I was just drawn to it from the get-go. And I sort of wonder if that's a credit to Bill Lawrence because he wrote the pilot. And I'm kind of intrigued by his writing because not only is this like a little more, I don't want to say slapstick comedy because that's not true, but it's more in your face comedy. I also think there might be something to Bill Lawrence's writing where like maybe he's a great writer of women.
There's as far as the label of comedy, I almost feel like it's a bit of an awkward comedy because the characters are all a little bit awkward.
Yes, exactly.
With Dylan, it's because she has a moment early on with Greg where they kind of give each other the teeth a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's a scene later on, and I don't want to spoil this because to me it was quite a little like, wait, what is going on here? Um, and I almost kind of felt like, based on the way Katie's arc is going, that if she ever found out about that instance between Greg and Dylan, there could be some real awkward situations there as well. So it could set up like a little bit of a spider web between all these characters.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering is how much Katie really knows about her dad's life. She said that
Hmm.
he hasn't been at the college and he's had all these offers to speak there. So does that mean she doesn't see him a lot? Does that mean, you know, he doesn't know her husband extremely well? Like how, what level are they playing at? So I'm curious to know how much or how little he would be willing to tell her.
Well, and particularly given the type of literature that Greg writes, it's a little bit lewd.
Yeah.
So to you just said, how much does Katie really know about Greg's life? I mean, this could be, I'm sure she's probably read his books, but that there could be, she may have thought this, maybe it was a little imaginative. There could be a whole layer of Greg where he was a bit of a player or something. I don't, it doesn't seem like that way from early on, but, there could be, I don't want to say a dark side, but a little more wild side of Greg Russo that his daughter's not aware of.
Yeah, or she could, I mean, I feel like I've heard of family members who, their father or mother is a famous writer or writes scripts and they just don't want anything to do with the
Yeah.
art that their parent makes. So she could be like, oh well, I know that my dad wrote this about like sex with my mom and that's gross, so I'm not going to read this. Like,
Icky, icky.
ugh, yeah, it might give her the ick. So she might refuse to read it.
Yeah. So my one thing, I kind of watch it, and again, like watching this knowing it's a comedy, but I feel like there's some potential real life lessons
Mm,
to delve into in here.
yep.
John C. McGinley's character makes a point early on when he's trying to get Greg to take this residency on campus that there's a lack of free and diverse thought on campus, which
Mm.
it's anyone that's gone through, college in the modern era knows this is very, very true. And, like, I don't know if historically liberal HBO would subtweet the Charlie Kirks of the world. Uh, if maybe that's just a situation where it's a little bit still timely. but it kind of feels like Greg is a bit old school as far as he may not necessarily be, some big based voice, but he's also not somebody that necessarily has a filter or thinks of all these, silly sensitivities that run rampant around a college campus. So I'm almost wondering if there's some kind of underlying subtone. I know it's a little redundant to a bit of a culture shock experience that, Greg could introduce to this campus while, he's present there.
Yeah, and it did seem like the John C. McGinley's character, who's the campus president, he is obviously like a fanboy of Greg's.
Hmm.
So I almost kind of wonder if that president kind of taking Greg under his wing, in a way, he's kind of like trying to relate to him man to man. Like, I'm a fan of yours, and I'm just gonna, like, they're talking about cold plunging, and
Yeah.
I was laughing at that part. But yeah, I wonder if that's going to sort of change Greg in a way where he's absorbing some of the, let's call it what it is, liberal woke culture of the campus. And maybe, in the same vein, maybe some of his rhetoric is going to be absorbed into this otherwise liberal college.
Yeah, kind of break some ice a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, the cold plunge was funny considering they're coming off of the hot box that John C.
yeah.
McGinley has sitting on his back patio or whatever. So they're talking about this, potential culture shock subtone. That's a literal physical shock.
Right. Yeah, maybe it's a
Um,
metaphor for something.
yeah. Oh, let's put the connect the dots and whatnot.
Oh, geez.
Um, Now the other thing that I'm noticing, and maybe this is just a subplot in the pilot, just based on the way the premiere episode went. I'm wondering if there's a deeper methodology behind the aftermath of couples post infidelity. So I mean, it's a very common thought that, cheating being the ultimate form of betrayal. Once it happens, that's it. You split, never again. But there seems to be an energy between Greg's past and what's going on with Katie and her
Mm,
estranged husband Archie that I don't know whether they're, again, maybe this is just something that existed strictly within the premiere,
mm.
but I feel like the relationship in some capacity will carry on throughout the series. So I don't know if there's going to be something of a very subtle undertone of, when it's appropriate to be like, no, you betrayed me, we're done, versus situations where people make mistakes and, love prevails over an ultimate act of betrayal.
Yeah, I guess that's different for everybody. I don't know. I think I guess there's like multiple lines of things that you can't come back from
Hmm.
and things that you can forgive. But I don't know. I just kind of am of the mindset like, yeah, you can forgive or you can say you can forgive, but can you really forget is the question.
Right. And can you expect the person not to do it again?
Right. And aren't you always going to be distrustful? Is that a word? Distrustful?
Un
Um,
Untrustworthy? No, that would be the other person.
I don't know. It just doesn't sound right to me. But yeah, wouldn't you always kind of be wondering and wouldn't you always be on edge, kind of anxious about it, wondering if they're wronging you
like
after
a
what they
sense of
did?
like a sense of paranoia whenever the significant other goes
Exactly.
out or not, you're not together, and then because it's not realistic even for a loyal couple to be together all the time.
Right. So it's like if you just decide, oh, okay, so you're not allowed to go out without me and I'm not allowed to go out with you without you, then the other person or the person who had the affair is going to be like, oh, well, now I resent you because you put these chains on me, and I feel like I can't even go out with my legitimate friends even though I'm not doing anything wrong. And it just becomes this whole thing that's just like the elephant in the room your whole life. So
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know who wants to deal with that. Like I do think that there's a line where there's some things that like how long did this go on, like, and like that stuff does matter. So it's I don't know, it's like a tricky thing.
Do you think there could be a deeper dive on that, or do you think it's just a subplot of the pilot and that'll kind of be the end of that after we move on?
um I don't I kind of think that it might come up in some capacity, because just we know that there's like 10 episodes of this show. And if I'm remembering correctly, I believe Phil Dunster was in almost all the episodes, if not like three-quarters of them. So
Hmm.
we know that he pops up in most of the seasons. So in what capacity is it going to be? You know, is there hope of rekindling? I feel like this is the 10th time I've said that in this episode, but is
I
there hope of
sectioned you.
rekindling, or is their relationship dead and gone? I mean, we don't really know. So yeah, I think it's, I don't think you're reading too much into it. I think that there could be something to that. It's like, we always talk about characters' origin stories and why they are the way they are. Like, let's face it, the way that someone's parents' relationship played out definitely has something to do with the way our relationships pan out, doesn't it?
Yeah. Dead and gone, the patented
Then
binge the
gown.
Jim's northern twang.
No, I don't. It's not mine. It's like my husband parroting some streamer or something. That's what it is.
Streamer.
It is some Twitch streamer or something who says it. So
That's
don't quote
great.
me.
All right. So I laughed quite a bit in this between Michael Scott, Dr. Cox, and Jamie Tartt. There's no lack of comedic
Mm.
excellence in this. So the pertinent question, as always, should you watch Rooster?
Yes. I really liked it. I was almost going to text you after and be like, I really liked that, but I was like, no, going to leave it for the show. But I
Yeah.
was like, I had a smile on my face, and I watched like the scenes to come for the next, part of the season, and I was like, I was honestly excited about it. I was like, I like this so far.
Yeah. And I feel like you combine these actors with very lengthy and robust careers in this genre. You
Mm,
combine them with Bill Lawrence's brilliance as a writer, and it kind of, and it's not, as we've said repeatedly already, it's not this like really over the top type of comedy. The writing is just gives you just enough comedy to wet your whistle,
mm.
at least as far as the pilot was concerned, and holds back quite a bit of comedic elements, so it doesn't feel like all you are is rolling on the floor laughing, even though I agree, I definitely had a couple laugh out loud moments myself.
Yeah, I don't feel like they're just like constantly slinging jokes. I did laugh out loud twice, and part of it, one of the times I laughed out loud was because of the editing. I thought it was hilarious the way that they did it. So if you watch the episode, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But I do think it's important for me to lay out that, I've seen a little bit of negativity about this show online. What One thing that I would kind of call out is like, listen, obviously a lot of elements of this show would never happen in real life. Like it's a show for entertainment. You're an adult, you should know that. I'm quoting Britney Spears when she was in an interview one time.
Oh, poor Brittany. Recent times have fallen on troubled waters for
Yeah. Yeah, but
her.
she was asked if her real life boyfriend, who was Justin Timberlake at the time, had a problem with her making out with this actor in her movie Crossroads, and she said no, why would he be upset about that? She said, we're playing pretend. You're an adult. You should know that.
Well, actually, that's would be a funny juxtaposition to something we've talked about in the past. I don't remember if it was on air or off air about why Neil McDonough is always cast as a villain.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, and you mentioned the fact that the characters are so awkward. Like in real life, people would never vocalize these things, like in conversations or to people they don't know. Like that's what, obviously that part of it is not realistic to me, but I don't think that makes it bad or makes it unfunny, which I feel like people were being a little bit harsh on like the comedy, like, oh, that's not funny. Like, I'm a hard
Well,
one to get to laugh out loud, and I laughed twice. So
yeah. Like the interaction with Dylan and Greg was very, very the awkwardly funny, but like you said, these moments where you wouldn't verbalize them in public. This is one of those perfect examples where it's like this is funny because you're not going to say these things out loud.
exactly. Yeah, like these, you would never be, you or I or anybody else would ever be likely in any of these situations. Like there's a situation with a cop or like a, I don't, yeah, it's a cop. I'm pretty sure. So there's a situation with a cop, like that would never happen. And it's funny, it's comical, it's a TV show, it's entertainment. Like
And
just laugh at it. Don't take
and
it so
it's
seriously, guys.
and it's supposed to be a comedy. We're over here saying like how much of a comedy is it really with all these emotional moments, but it is still a comedy. You're supposed
No.
to laugh. It's supposed to be silly.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like it skews like 70-30. I would say 60-40 or 70-30. It's comedy.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you give us a better ratio than 70-30 as far as the episodes we do that you like. And if the ones that you do like, please give us a 5-star review. That's better than 70-30 on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And hit the follow or subscribe button, whether you're watching us on video or listening to us on the go. That would definitely keep you in the loop to when we drop episodes, as we are at the mercy of shows premieres. So next up, coming back to the top of the show, this is a little bit out of order because we just did our Bill Lawrence fandom, and now we go back to our Taylor Sheridan fandom. The Madison drops on Paramount Plus this weekend. However, before you catch our thoughts on that release, we're going to go live once again to cap awards season with the granddaddy of them all, Oscar night. So get your Sunday finest and join us for the reactions. So these are kind of two big episodes coming up here for us.
Yeah, and you really nailed it on the head with get your Sunday finest on, and that's just a clue as to what we will be wearing for Oscar night.
Let the gears turn, let the gears turn. Until the next real review, Red and Red are signing out.